KXW owner, operator, and everything else to do with that company. Christian Payne is going to be on the show. Um, Pretty much,
Hell
we're
yeah.
just going to talk to him about what the company has to offer and what the future holds for KXW and all that. So, also later on the show, we're going to have my buddy Jordan, um, local comedian and future podcaster. I talked to him this morning.
Yeah, I see he's in
Yeah,
the chat.
he's
Son
ready
for
to go. So we've got a few big announcements tonight. Obviously, new name, Virtual Chaos. We had a poll this week to find out what the new name would be, and we had a few different names put out. Those being Havoc's Lounge, Virtual Chaos, and then whatever you guys wanted. And Virtual Chaos happened to win. So, Pheonix, anything you'd like to add, buddy?
um just I'm happy to be here, man. Like, I know I missed the first episode. Like I said, I'm sorry guys. I had some stuff going on. But I'm here now. We're here now. Let's do this.
Hell yeah, man. That's what we plan to do. We plan to definitely take
Yeah.
this on the road. Like you all seen earlier, we hit 100 views on the first episode, and that is tremendous, amazing work, you guys. Um,
Bro.
Really, all we ask is that you share, like, comment, do whatever you can for us as we are bringing you the latest news and stuff from the virtual wrestling world and beyond.
We're trying to we're trying to give you options here to like just share, yeah, just give you options, show you what's out there so that if you're a virtual pro wrestling fan, you know where to go and you know where the best options to watch are.
Yes, sir. Um, so tonight, Christian Payne has quite a few big announcements to make regarding the future of KXW, and we are super excited to bring him on the show and get to know him a little bit and his product and talk to him about the future of KXW. Pheonix, anything you'd like to add on that?
I just can't wait to see what he has to offer. I heard some big names. He we've been talking to him in chat and he seems like a pretty nice guy. So I can't wait to see what he has to offer and what his company has to bring to the table of virtual professional wrestling, because that's what we've been doing for almost. I mean, I've been doing this for almost maybe 2-3 years. You've been doing this longer than I have, so I guess it's a valid option, don't
Like,
you
yeah,
think?
in 6 years, for me at least.
Yeah.
Um, Now the
Yeah.
call has a lot longer of a lifespan than 6 years. Which the past and even the present of Adam Styles.
Yeah.
Hell, you're my tag partner.
Yeah.
So moving forward with that being said, um, KXW is definitely something that has the opportunity to break glass ceilings for the virtual wrestling world, much like all the others that we plan to talk to, and even BCW from last week. Um, with that being said, um, KXW has definitely got me rooting for them and has me on their side. As far as for Pheonix Fusion here, I'm not sure. So Pheonix, go ahead and add on that if you'd like.
It's definitely got me hyped. Like, we've tagged so far in maybe 3-4 promotions, and they're all good. And as far as I'm concerned, they got some unique stuff from what I've heard around, around Facebook and around, just the chats or what we have spoken to them. We've only spoken to them before the podcast like a handful of times, and from what we've heard, they're pretty unique and they're in their own lane.
Exactly.
And I can't wait for you guys. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So With that being said, um, Phoenix, if you have nothing else to add, what do you say we get the show on the road, man? Get episode 2 in the books.
Let's go, bro. Rock on. Let's
All
go.
right, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me give a very big virtual chaos welcome to the owner, the operator of KXW. He is a four-time KXW 24/7 champion, Mr. Christian Payne. No,
Embarrassing.
this is fine. It's
Yes.
just a little unorthodox. I've still got big plans tonight.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, so for right
Shyster.
now, could you just go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Yes.
I understand that you're a third generation wrestler, so tell us a
Yes.
bit about yourself and your family.
Well, as for me being a third generation wrestler, my grandfather, Roy Simpson, was a journeyman back in the 70s, all the way up until the mid 90s. He wrestled as the Nightmare. Not the most creative gimmick, but he was very recognized throughout all of Canada. Multiple promotions would bring him in. He had a very unique look, despite the creative lack. My father, Robert Simpson, the Eliminator, is the godfather. He's why I'm here today. He's why I'm making history with EFET. He started AWC in about 1996. He felt there was a huge drought in Canadian wrestling. So he was just like, well, what if there was like a permanent home for Canadian wrestling? So he, Voodoo Man, and his dad opened AWC, his promotion, and like every major wrestling company, financials got in the way, and television deals and stuff. So yeah, he had to close that down. But in the ashes came KXW. Me and a bunch of friends from the Academy of Violence, his wrestling school, decided, okay, we can do this. We can do this. We were very inspired by Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and the whole all-in concept, and we were just like, we can do this, can't we? Let's try it. So that's how KXW came to be.
Heck yeah. It's definitely a good story behind it. So what would you say that your best memory of the AWC is?
Well, the best memory of AWC was definitely the locker room. We had a bunch of great talent. We had great working relationships with the big leagues, so there was a lot of talent coming in, but a lot of homegrown talent. The Brooklyn Brawlers, absolutely one of the best tag teams ever. Mad Dog, what a look! Like you take Shad Gaspard and you take Moose and you put them together, you've got Mad Dog. He's phenomenal talent. And just overall the family that I made there. When it folded, I was definitely heartbroken, but I knew it wasn't the end. I knew that I had to do something. So KXW was the first plant, because we didn't have a name. We didn't really have any budget, because AWC had just closed down, and the only money coming in was bringing guys into the wrestling school. And that's where I met everybody that would go to form the core KXW Originals. Some of them have come and gone, and a lot of drama has ensued, but KXW, as of right now, is still going strong.
Of course. Well, that's definitely a good thing. Definitely a good thing that you guys are still going on. So I guess that you already kind of answered my next question. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the audience watching and possible fans of KXW that are watching, like for
Huh.
like the future or maybe even surprises coming?
Yes. So, as for KXW right now, we're on a bit of a hiatus, but that doesn't mean you won't see any matches. We got some stuff in the vault that we've shot while out on tour. We've got a great tag team title match between Total Devastation and the Springboard Superman Steel Cage match. Phenomenal tag teams going at it for the KXW Tag Team Championships. That's coming out tomorrow on the KXW Wrestling Central YouTube channel. Um, and basically, that match is going to determine who are the tag team champions going into the first season of KXW Voltage, which will be coming out in the 2022 season.
Okay.
And everything KXW wise is going to go by seasons now, because for most hardcore KXW fans, it seems there's a new show popping up every once in a while, like Battleground and
Right.
Underground and something to do with ground or down or Outbreak. Everything KXW related is going to be on Voltage, and it's going to be labeled as seasons. No more separate shows, all one show, all KXW. And I wanted to make a big announcement here because your podcast needs some big breaking news. So I figured,
Right.
what the hell? A lot of E-Feds have their championships, and a lot of E-Feds have their moments, but it usually stays to the virtual reality.
Right.
KXW is going to take one big giant step into reality. I've been making some conversations. I've gotten some designs worked out, but we have it timed before March, just to tie in with the release of 2K22. And when Voltage returns, KXW will have a actual physical KXW World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh my goodness! A physical title.
Yes,
A physical world title.
absolutely.
That
Physical in the
is
flesh.
tremendous.
Yes.
That is tremendous news.
And
Tremendous news.
there's a lot of superstars that are going to be returning to KXW for the 2022 season. And for the
Okay.
World Championship, basically every other champion that's a champion right now, no offense to Stryker, the current KXW World Heavyweight Champion, everybody
Mhm.
is keeping their title, but I've made a deal with Stryker's manager, Chad Goldman, to basically vacate the KXW World Heavyweight Championship. Stryker gets an automatic bye into the Lethal Lottery. Now, what the Lethal Lottery is going to be a 16-man tournament. Now, like I said, Stryker has already got an automatic bye, but to fill the remaining 15 slots, I've compiled every roster member that is returning for the 2022 season, be it a singles competitor or tag team wrestler. And I'm putting them all on a big, giant wheel. And I'm going to be spinning that wheel. And whoever gets chosen from the wheel will then be entered into that 16-man tournament to have the opportunity to become the KXW World Heavyweight Champion, and hold the physical title.
That's amazing. That is tremendous news, actually. Having a fully customized title is big because in most e-feds, at least from what I've seen, have your replicas that they just put a logo on, and there's nothing wrong with that, really, right? And really, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just really cool that you guys are making a physical title and having that to hold. Um, and that makes promos better. It makes you feel better about the character having a
Yes.
physical thing. Definitely will light a fire under me if I had a physical title in my hand. I'd cut a promo like Randy Orton tonight. So, it's definitely a good thing that you guys are doing that, and definitely very surprising to finally have something of worth be announced. And so yeah, any other big spoilers you might have for us?
Well, I've got news, but I want to save that for Voltage. So anybody who hasn't subscribed to the KXW Wrestling Central YouTube channel, you might want to do it and stay tuned for March. I don't know exactly what date because they haven't released the date of the game. But some point in March or in April, depending on when they release it, KXW Voltage Season 1 will be coming straight to YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome news.
Absolutely.
So definitely can't wait for that. So now we're going to kind of head into some tough questions, some relating to your past and maybe even your future
Right on.
with KXW. So could you possibly tell me just a little bit about Josh Sniper? What's he like?
Well, Josh Sniper. Well, like I said before, the Academy of Violence.
Mhm.
He was the first student other than the core family to walk in the door.
Mhm.
And from day one, we knew that he had something, and we
Right.
knew that he had that it factor to make it in this business.
Mhm.
But I'm not knocking on anybody in the industry, but you'll get those people that come into somebody else's company
Mhm.
or just life and ownership, and they think they own the place, and they have such a chip on their shoulder, they have such an attitude and an arrogance about them.
Mhm.
And Josh, with all of his gifts that he had in the ring and on the microphone, he can be a bit of an asshole.
Right.
And I'm not just blowing smoke. Anybody who has had some sort of interaction with Josh Sniper in any company has experienced what I've experienced. But that also being said, he was a man that I shared the roads with. He was a man that I've had many of bad nights with, and many of long sleepless nights traveling between cities. Josh can be a handful, but when you get him at the right moment,
Of course.
he can be a nice guy. But that being said, the last interaction that Josh and I had didn't end very well,
Okay.
because Garrett Lee, when I was running my own career, I decided that I was going to sell my share of KXW. My dad had 50% ownership, and I wanted to compete more in the ring. And anybody that runs a company, and especially at that time I had already held the 24/7 championship twice, people start to think, wait, you run the thing and you're a champion? They start to label you.
Mhm.
So I sold off my share to a guy named Garrett Lee. And
Okay.
at that point, things were running very smooth.
Mhm.
And Josh had left KXW, and he was running around the independent circuit. And he was doing big things, but it seemed every time he would have a match on the indies, he would slander KXW. He was
Yeah.
one of the core originals that helped me create this place, and he had the audacity to slander us and come at us with these baseless claims of nepotism just because I and the rest of my family were on the roster.
Mhm.
Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes I understand. I get it.
Of course.
It's a one versus many situation.
Mhm.
It's me, my father, sometimes my grandfather, my cousin, my two brothers, and my sister, all on the roster. But not all of us are active. Not all of us are in big situations. So he took it upon himself that when he was out of his KXW contract, he took it upon himself to come back to the Academy of Islands, the place that my father created to bring in the young talent, to help us find more talent for KXW. He had the audacity to come in and just beat the holy hell out of two of our newest students. Put one of them on the shelf for 6 months. He couldn't even have his first match.
Sounds like a pretty bad man.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is after his little run in the bingo halls and on the indies, he decided to buy my share of KXW. And I had no idea of this. Garrett decided to make this big announcement that Patrick spewed into the universe. Our head analyst, he said that Garrett Lee has sold off his share of KXW to a mystery investor. And I'm just like, wait a second. I was once a shareholder. You can tell me, my father, for God's sakes. You can tell my father. None of us knew who Garrett had sold the other share to. And then at this point, the person who unbeknownst to us, the mystery man, the lawyer got involved and convinced and hornswoggled my father to sell his share.
Oh.
And then there was a point during an investor call where it was revealed that Josh had bought, at this point, the entirety of KXW. And immediately started changing things. Like, first of all, he dropped the entire KXW. KXW stood for Kingston Extreme Wrestling because we started in the mean streets of Kingston, Ontario. But then, when Josh became in charge of everything, it was Global Extreme Wrestling. Now, and don't get me wrong, GXW is a cool name for a company. But if you want to start a GXW, start one yourself. Don't come into my territory and rip things away from me.
Of course.
It's just disrespectful. So eventually, people were starting to see the true colors of Josh Sniper. He started not paying talent. He started attempting to force talent to work injured, like seriously injured. Anyway, a lot of falling out. We lost a lot of roster members, and people were saying, hey, if you want me to stick around, things need to change here.
Cool.
And then he fires me. He keeps my family employed, but fires me. No explanation. I'm just hanging out one day, packing my go bag, getting ready to get in the car and speed off to the next city. And then I open my mailbox because I hadn't checked it in a few days. And then I see a contract written by Josh Snyder, releasing me from my GXW contract.
Right.
Saying if I had shown up to the arena, I would be immediately prosecuted.
Oh, no.
Now, once again, I state, I shared the roads with this man. I shared locker rooms with this man. I've tagged with this man. And this is how he pays me back. If he wanted to come back into KXW, he could have asked me. He could have asked anyone. But no. That's what Josh is. He likes to stick his fingers where they don't belong, and he likes to break things. That's not how I roll.
Right.
So yeah, since I've gotten control back, because trust me, it took a good year and a half to gain control back, to get my entire share back. But I got it back. And ever since, Sniper has been blackballed and blacklisted from KXW.
Definitely, probably is definitely needed for that. I would say for that, definitely. So it seems like Josh Sniper kind of gets to you a little bit under your skin. So let's kind of move on from that. Seems like there's some bad blood. So about Tom Terror, um, I've heard some about Tom Terror here and there. So what's up with him, man? Like what's going on with that guy?
Well, Tom Terror. He was another one of the core originals for KXW. Trained at the academy. Great talent. But during the Garrett Lee regime, Patrick Stevenson had warned people about Tom Terror because he had been going through some personal issues. He'd going through some demons, and he had renegotiated his contract. He came back, and his first match back, he caused numerous injuries, causing the superstar to go into retirement early.
Wow.
And then the next week he did the same.
Mhm.
And Garrett was warned. He was just like, you got to do something. But no suspensions were ever laid. I was doing my own thing, so I couldn't really get involved. I wasn't on the board, so I couldn't do anything as much as I wanted to. So the next week, Arn Anderson, the first ever KXW World Heavyweight Champion, comes by for a visit. We have a title match that night, so he's coming to wish good luck to the competitors. Tom Terror shows up, beats the holy shit out of Arn. And I can remember it vividly. I was sitting there in the back. I'm watching this go down. And Tom just grabs him by the throat. It's on top of a production truck. God knows how many feet in the air. He choke slams Arn off of this production truck. And he lands on the crates at the bottom. Lands on his neck. At that time, we had thought he was paralyzed. But and that's what was reported because we didn't know much. But I am happy to report that Arn is doing better since that attack. A restraining order is placed. Tom Terror is still on the roster, and people have asked me in DMs and have asked me what I'm going to do about Tom Terror. And during the hiatus, I have given him strict suspension, 90 days, because we cannot have Tom Terror ruining this new era of KXW.
Of course.
Now, like I said, every active roster member is in the lethal lottery. So whether his name gets drawn or not, some action will be taken if necessary. But that's about all I have to say when it regards to Tom Terror. He's been suspended. As of right now, there are no plans to bring him back into the fold.
Okay. So, with that being said, I'm guessing that neither one of those guys are still employed by KXW, correct?
Tom Terror is currently employed, but he's on very thin ice.
He's on very thin ice. And Josh Snyder is just
no chance in
not
hell.
at all.
No chance in hell.
No chance in hell. I completely understand. So kind of moving forward, what are the real big plans for Christian Payne in
Well,
2020?
as for Christian
What
Payne,
are your plans?
as for myself, I basically have done about everything I've wanted to do. I've had fantastic tag matches with each of my brothers. I've had many a battles with my father. I've been to every city imaginable, every state, every province across the world.
Mhm.
4-time 24/7 champion.
Of course.
I've had a good career. And as of right now, especially with me being in charge, and with the last time I had sold my share, things got crazy.
Right.
And I never thought I would get it back. Now, granted, when I was released from my GXW contract, I considered retirement there because I wasn't where I belonged. But I've strongly considered retirement again. And
Oh.
you know, if the situation's right and
Mhm.
if something ever really happens, I would consider getting back in the ring, but as of right now, I gotta heal, man. I've had I just like in the war zone. When we were on the road. One of my last big matches was a ladder match. Those things suck.
Of course. Yeah. I've been in my fair share of
And
ladder matches. I understand.
my neck is about as good as a cracker. It
Yeah,
it's good, but it just doesn't fulfill me yet. So
right.
I've considered hanging it up for good. But like I said, if the situation's right, maybe.
It's a vape, not a USB stick. I had to hit you with it real quick.
I got an email today though, and I need to reveal this because you asked if I had any more big news. I completely forgot about
Yeah.
this, and it doesn't make any sense that I would forget about this. So, KXW Voltage Season 1, when it comes out on the the Central YouTube channel, it will be in conjunction with Kojiko. So we have
Oh.
a full-blown TV deal. So everything will be run on the KXW YouTube channel, but you'll just be seeing Kojiko logos and everything. And with that said, the main event of the first ever episode of Voltage will be for the brand new KXW Kojiko Championship. It'll be an 8-man battle royal, and the contestants are all in place, all but one. But that's fine. I can look up and down the roster. There's probably somebody that deserves that slot. But yeah, KXW is finally where it needs to be. We've had a lot of ups and downs over the course of the years. It's been since 2K17 that we've been a thing.
2K17.
2K17
That's
on the
about the time that I
PlayStation
started.
3.
That's about the time that Adam Styles started. Well, began his journey in the EFED world. That's about the time that it started for me. But of course, as for everyone, we all have our moments beforehand, our amateur moments, and before. So, is there anything else you may want to reveal to the audience and those watching at home?
Well, not right off the top of my head, but
Okay.
if it's okay with you, because I've really enjoyed talking with you, and I really do think that you're really good as a podcast host.
Of course.
And not just blowing smoke because I'm talking to you, but you really are a fantastic talent.
Thank you.
I would like to when the first episode of Voltage airs, if possible, I'd like to come back on and chat about everything.
Of course. Oh, of course.
And who knows?
Yeah, we always try to do follow-ups.
And who knows? Maybe one of these days we'll see Adam Styles in a KXW ring.
You never know, man. You never know. I definitely have had conversations with quite a few promoters over the past few weeks and months, with different plans for Adam Styles. So if excuse me, if the plan is right, or if the if everything lines up correctly, then you never know. You might even see Havoc, Adam Styles, and Pheonix Fusion in a KXW.
Absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
going
Let
up
me
against
tell you, the Springboard
Springboard Superman.
Supermen, they've had a good reign. God knows if they're going to have the titles tomorrow. I mean,
Of course.
even if Total Devastation win the tag titles, jeez, KXW doesn't have nearly enough tag teams as we should.
Of
Let that
course.
be an open invitation to any tag team out there. You need a spot, and you're on PlayStation 4. KXW, we can hook you up.
Of course. Well, Havoc's always ready. We were born ready. So if you ever need a filler, or even just a good tag team to step in and take the reins, Havoc's ready. Um, so yeah, if there's nothing else that you want to add at all, um, I guess we could maybe possibly move on to